Speaking of sales, like you always have like follow up, right? Like how often should someone follow up until forever, or like after 5 you should stop following up with the customer? Like, what's your advice on following up?
Or following up
Mm,
for the. I would say the same. How long do you want to sell them?
mm.
There's a difference in following up and stalking somebody.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes
There's
it's
a
fine
line in
line. Yeah,
between.
yeah.
You should follow up. If
Mm,
you stalk, they're gonna hate you.
mm,
If you follow up, they'll consider it. So, what I think is that if you have a product or you have a service that it's going to make their life easier, happier, funnier, why they won't like it? Why they won't
mm.
have it? You gotta showcase it in the right way, with the right form, with the right channels. Um, I think that there's a misconception about selling. Like whenever I say the word, it happens worldwide.
Mm.
If I say the word, you're a seller, you're like, oh. The first image that comes into your head is like the sales car of used cars,
Yeah,
like from movies.
yeah. Exactly,
Like the sailor
exactly.
that it's pushing you into into saying yes, and you end up with a shitty car, broke down half a mile out, and you hate that guy
Yeah.
because it's too pushy. You weren't able to say no, and they offer you something that it's not good for you. That's a misconception, and I would say that it used to be true, or it is true,
Mm.
unless you start thinking about who you're selling to. Because if I do understand who I'm selling to, what are their needs, what is his or her life, what are the pain points, and what does he or she complains about, and I have something that can solve that problem, it's an amazing gift. It's an amazing thing. But as long as you do the math, if it doesn't work, they're gonna hate you and they're gonna think that you're pushing into it.
So should people be using cold emails and cold calling, or should they only be trying to only sell to warm leads?
Of course, they can use cold calling. Cold calling is not dead. Stupid calling is it? I hate to say it, but I think that it's not the channel. It's the way you use the channel that's wrong.
You need to get a meme. Stop stupid calling.
Yeah, I would say that there's a beautiful line in Forrest Gump. Stupid is what stupid does. He said it in a bench when somebody called him stupid. Stupid is what stupid does. Why I'm saying this in this harsh way, because people don't get it otherwise. Cold calling, what's it? I want to offer you something that you might think it's interesting. You don't know me, you have to trust me. If you trust me, you're gonna purchase. If I use cold calling, which is totally normal, I have to give you something of offer, of value, in order for you to take it. If I cold call you, hey Jason, hello, my name is Kika. I have an amazing company that teaches people how to sell, and I think that you should have me here in your podcast. And I've been doing this.
Like, whoa, slow down.
That's a way. Hey Jason, how are you? So your podcast, it's so amazing the people that you bring along. I've been learning so much about you. I found it really interesting. What's your approach on the people that you bring?
Mm.
No, you know what? I want to give my audience something of value, teach them different views. Oh, amazing. Are you willing to learn a bit more about different ways of approaching customers and selling to them? Yeah, of course. Would you be willing to give me 5 minutes for me to pitch you my company?
Yeah, perfect.
Same thing, done in a different way. If I don't put the customer first and his or her needs, it's impossible to sell something.
So, what characteristics do you find make a good or even a great salesperson?
I just there's this other awesome guy who's called Daniel Pink, and he teaches persuasion and he does a master class, and he one of the interesting things he says is that first you got to understand who you're talking to. You gotta listen what they need, and you gotta figure out how you can solve their issues, whatever it is. So for a good seller, it's not. There was this study if introvert or extroverts were best sellers.
It's gonna be, I think, introverts.
You would say introvert, yeah.
Yeah,
Most people said extroverts.
yeah, because you're talking and blah blah.
And you're blah blah blah.
Yeah, a good salesman doesn't talk all the time, right?
some people said, of course, it's introvert because extroverts talk a lot, and it's an in between. Because
Okay.
an introvert also don't show the offer. I've,
No, you're
I
right.
Was, I was,
You're right. Yeah.
I was in a training the other day, and they were saying, it's not that you don't talk in a business call, in a business meeting. It's you have to lead the conversation and not talking about yourself. You have to talk because the other person doesn't know what you can offer. But you have to manage the conversation in order to achieve most information in order to offer something. But you don't have to talk about yourself. If I come here and I'm telling you, I'm the best, I'm amazing, I'm wonderful, I'm this and that, you're going to say, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to be with you because you make me like this. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. But
So, what is a business engineer?
business engineer is, I would say it's like studying business here. It's a word in Spanish is business engineer, but I study business.
Okay.
I don't have anything of engineering.
And then you also co-founded a company called Loading Play.
Yeah, that was the first company I used to work for a corporate world. I sold for years ice cream, which was amazing. I learned a lot. I left my feet on the streets, which I learned like that's how I learned how you gotta realize who your customer is. I worked for years for a bank, learning how to give funding to small SMBs, this amazing project as well. And then I left the corporate world and I joined a first startup. And this is Loading Play. One of my friends from university was building this tech company. And they were building this e-commerce platform long time ago where there was nothing back home in Chile. Shopify didn't exist so far. It wasn't adapted for Latin America reality. So I started there. We built this amazing platform. 5 years on that. And Shopify landed in Latin America. And there was like $100 million companies with 100 grants from Chilean money, which was impossible to fight, and it didn't make sense. So we regrouped and we turned it into a hub, an integration platform, integration and automation platform, and that's how I started in the startup enterprise entrepreneur like road in.
And you also teach e-commerce at the MBA level at a university down there?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
So far, 3 seasons. When the pandemic started, 2020, they offered me a teaching position in my university, teaching e-commerce, which at the beginning I said no, but then I said yes, and I started teaching it was a special course that had first, second, third. Yeah, it has all the years. I love teaching. I hate doing to first graders or first year. I don't know how you say it. I don't believe in pushing people that you have to attend because otherwise you're gonna be you're too old for that. I'm not gonna be your mother. It's up to you. So I taught a semester, like a formal course, and after that I decided I was never gonna teach a whole course because it's a lot of work. And I'm not in that stage of life. So I come into a season, they bring me as a special teacher. I teach my lesson. I gave the update of the world, and then I go back.
So what's something you've done that you're proud of that most people don't know about? Like it's not out there for public knowledge.
What am I proud?
But people don't know about it.
That's a very good question. I'm really proud of a personal process I've been handling. Yeah. I set myself a journey of learning and understanding who I was, what I wanted from life. Been working on that for almost 15 years so far.
Why is it important for us to be like lifelong learners?
Because I don't know any other way of life.
Doesn't it make some people like stop learning when they turn 18 or 21?
Yeah, I think it's the other day I was having this argument, which is this is what I think. Life changes every moment, every second, every minute. If you are not able to adapt to change, you're gonna be lost. But it's a way of living. I found out so far that there's some people that loves. Actually, 10% of people read. Only 10%.
Actually, I'm surprised it's that high. To be honest with you.
Regularly.
Yeah.
10%. Of that 10%, 1% is a creator of content. 9% of that 10% is a collaborator in the creation of content. And the other 90% is how do you call it in English? It's somebody that just take advantage of all the knowledge some other people. I am a great believer if you want something different, you gotta go and change it. And in order to do that, you gotta be able to adapt, learn, and bring something to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know other way because I'm excited every time I learn something new. I'm the kind of person that learns something and I'm usually thinking how am I gonna share it. I learned this new technique. I learned I with one of my sisters we talk all the time. I found this podcast and she was saying something really really important because she was saying that if you want to do something, what do you think? No, yeah. And Jose, which is one of my sisters, she's like, yeah, but Kika, you gotta see it from this other perspective because if you do this, that's amazing. And you know what? And we go like this hours. So I would answer to that question. If you are surrounded by people like that, you're gonna enjoy it so much. But I've learned how to transit in between these two worlds, where I go with my friends from high school, which I love. They're my best supporting group on everything. But I can talk a bit about the things I'm learning. Because after that, Kika, what are you learning now? And I'm like, okay, just this. No, when I started I'll put you an example.